This is the brand new Diamond DA50. It's the only one of its kind currently flying in Australia, and it's an aircraft with some very impressive features. It's got a fully computerized FADEC engine control, Garmin avionics, retractable trailing landing gear, it's single pilot IFR capable, and it has a Continental diesel engine that burns jet fuel instead of avgas. Today I'm going to put it through its paces, test how it handles, and see what sets it apart from other aircraft by taking it for a flight over Melbourne. There's been a lot of hype about this aircraft that ticks almost every box on my wish list for the perfect aircraft. Yes, I do have an actual list in my notebook at home, doesn't everyone? But this is going to be a very interesting experience, especially considering I actually fly an aircraft that some think, the DA50, may actually be a direct competitor of. Some of you may know that I actually fly an aircraft called a Cirrus SR22, similar to this one behind me. But what I don't want to do in this video today is actually do a direct comparison between the SR22 and the Diamond DA50. And whilst it might be tempting to go through all the things that are on my list of what is the perfect aircraft and see how many boxes the SR22 ticks and how many the DA50 ticks, today in this video I actually just want to focus on the Diamond DA50 and what it as an individual aircraft can actually do. Saying that though, maybe a side-by-side comparison, maybe I will save that for another video. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that. Otherwise, let's go fly this new aircraft. Now, the way these demo days work is the aircraft manufacturers normally line up a bunch of flights with news companies, journalists, and occasionally YouTubers like me. And when I got to the airport, the aircraft was already out on one of those flights. But this gave me a chance to put the Diamond team on the spot and ask them a few difficult questions about the aircraft. Stephen, I asked my Patreon audience to ask you some difficult questions.
Well,
the first question from Jonathan, thanks Jonathan, he said, what are your thoughts about the CD300 reliability service bulletins requiring oil analysis every 50 to 100 hours?
well, the maintenance is basically every 100 hours. There's no 50 hours, so it's 100 hours. And but the aircraft has been overseas now for at least 2 years. So we're not the first cab off the rank, as it were. So I think the reliability has been superb.
Mafu 001, two things. How much does it cost?
Well, obviously the aircraft is depending on what options you choose, but typically the base price is $1,225,000 US ex-factory. A typically equipped aircraft on the register delivered in Australia is usually 1.4 something.
And what typical upgrades could you get?
Obviously, air conditioning is a popular upgrade in Australia. TKS de-ice, the Garmin keypad, and also premium interior, premium paints. There was a time when Diamond were only white many years ago.
Yeah.
That's now changed. You can pretty much, the aircraft that you'll see, which will come in, actually has a special design, unique premium paint.
The other one, why does it have a shorter range compared to other aircraft this size?
Well, it all depends on what you're doing. I mean, look, we have the DA62. If someone wants to go really far, that will give you 8 and 9 hours endurance. I mean, how big's your bladder?
And do you know what? Did you organise that timing-wise? Because right as he was answering that question about the DA50...
Here it is.
Here it is. FlightFix asks, was there ever any consideration for this aircraft to do two things, pressurisation or putting a parachute on it?
Neither is the simple answer. I think that once you start doing pressurisation, you go up into a different price bracket. And also, as far as parachutes concerned, we've got a different edge to that with the wing design. So both of those were really never a factor.
But then it was finally my turn to fly the DA50, so I grabbed my headset and made my way on board with Stuart. He's the ferry pilot who flew the DA50 all the way here from Austria, and Stephen in the back seat, with a long list of features that I want to see and share with you here in detail. Now, talking of detail, I've tried to keep this video as concise as possible, but if you do want to see more detailed videos on this aircraft, then I've got more videos on the DA50 over on my Patreon channel. Link, as always, in description.
Just gently down and then just close the red while they hold it in. That's it. All secured. Righto, so start procedure on this. Park brakes on, all your switches are off, gears down, breakers are all in. We'll go to the engine start checklist. So prop is clear, master is on, engine annunciations and indications. The only thing we need to watch is cold temperatures, that our fuel temperature isn't out of limits. So once we turn the engine master on, we have a glow plug comes on.
Yep.
When that disappears, we're good to start, and it's a case of push the button. Alright, so I'll just get it moving and then I'll hand it over to you to have a little bit of a play with.
Okay, thank you.
So you can see there, about 1200 got us going in a straight line.
Yep.
And that's probably about 1000 is good for your taxiing. So handing over to you.
Alright, taking over.
If you need to move the pedals back, just use the switch over the side there.
And I can do, I can do that whilst I'm seating here as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you need to be aware you are much wider than standard aircraft.
True.
So
Alright,
you cannot
watch
enter
my wing.
taxiways that say maximum 12 metres anymore.
And even before we've taken off, that brings us to one of the first points of difference with this aircraft. Wingspan. The wingspan off the Diamond DA50 is 44 feet wide, which when you compare it to other aircraft, say something like a Cirrus SR-22, that's 38 feet. So it's an additional 6 feet wider than standard other well-known piston single-engine aircraft. So if hangar space is a consideration for you, then that extra 6 feet of width, that might make a difference for you.
And I'm keeping the power settings as it is at the moment with
As
the taxi.
you need to, yeah, this speed's great. This is keeping you going.
Alright.
Just make sure you're not riding the brakes.
A fellow Diamond in the white livery that we were talking about
Exactly,
before.
yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Diamond aircraft that you use for training here at Moorabbin Airport.
Learn to Fly are probably the biggest user here, so...
Yeah.
We then went through the aircraft run-up checks, which is basically preparing the aircraft and the engine to get it ready for takeoff. Now, in some aircraft, those engine checks can be quite lengthy and a bit time-consuming, so I was interested to see how the DA50's one-button engine run-ups actually worked.
Power lever goes to ground idle. We check the FADEC to position B. Then we go back to auto when that's completed. And then the run-up is done by holding the button.
Yep.
The engine will pick up a little bit of load. You see on the annunciators, we've got ECU AB initially, drops back to B. The engine cycles. And then it'll do the same check on the other ECU. Not unusual for the oil pressure just to tap the top of the red on that test. Yep. That is now completed. Run-ups are done. Moorabbin ground, 88 Romeo completed in the run-up bay, ready for taxi. So a tight turn like this, you will need just a little bit of power and differential.
Well, there's a lot more weight at the front in this aircraft, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Compared to what you had in the other ones, in the 42, for example.
Thumping big engine.
Big engine, yeah.
So it's 1230 this runway, correct?
This will be 1181 for the left runway.
Oh, we're going left, that's right.
Left runway, yeah.
So I did have a right to start with. I'll just put this down, and you've got an armrest there as well.
Oh, thank you.
Romeo, traffic upwind, Diamond also departing to the southeast, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 17 left, copy traffic, 88 Romeo.
That's full power.
That is, I've got 100%, RPM's good, T's and P's are good, heels on the floor.
Romeo, turn downwind, touch and go.
Kilo Romeo, number one.
Yep. Rotate
Private
now.
Tower, helicopter Papa Hotel India, Southern Apron, ready
That's
for
it, bring your nose up.
Final India, stand
There
by.
you go, hold that up,
Standing.
just raise your nose.
There we go.
That's good.
Limerick India, Diamond upwind's departing.
Limerick India.
Okay, touch the brakes and let's pull the gear.
So brakes, gear up.
That's it, below 162.
Final
Positive
India,
climb.
just been a minute or two, just got some traffic on the
Flaps
other
up.
side, on the western side. They go around some things, so just
That's
stand
good, just keep the pitch up
Papa
there.
Hotel India, still
And
standing by.
just use the manual trim wheel there just to relieve the pressure for you.
Oh, that's better. There we go.
There we are. Now power, we can bring that back to say, let's use just say 75%. So the book will let you set power settings by 90%. It's got figures for 75, 60 and 45%.
Yep.
So you've got a fair range. So 75 is your normal, what you'll use in a cruise.
Okay. And what are we doing in terms of fuel flow for that? At 75, we've got about
12,
12 a
1,
bit.
somewhere around there normally.
Yeah.
For a cruise 5, you can use probably say about 105 knots. Best
Okay.
rate is back at about 79 knots.
So a little bit more nose up, because we were climbing at 120 just there, I think.
Yep. And at the moment, at a cruise setting, you're doing 115 knots and we've still got over 800 feet a minute
800
climb.
feet a minute.
So pretty much whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so
Feel
why don't
free.
I just get a feel for it still. I'm still getting used to, you know, how the stick feels. So are you happy if I head us towards French Island now, if we just make a right turn?
That's it. So clear left, clear ahead, clear right.
Key thing that I've noticed in comparison to pretty much any other aircraft I've flown before is FADEC, which makes it...
The
be
mixture
honest,
is always perfect.
The mixture is always perfect, which is very different to when I fly, when the mixture is rarely perfect. I mean, the power settings we've had so far was ground idle, takeoff, climb, and 75% for cruise. So I think we've really had maybe 4 that we need to remember. Is that what you're basically doing? Is that how you're flying this aircraft, based on a power setting and an attitude?
Essentially correct.
Okay.
You can adapt that to whatever you like. If you're into a headwind going somewhere, you'll use a faster cruise to spend less time in that wind. If you've got a tailwind, you might use a slower speed, better on the fuel, and give the wind time to push you along. As far as the FADEC goes, it is a new generation engine. The old 540s, 550 Contis, that's 1960s, 1970s technology with very big pistons, very low compressions. This is a double overhead cam, twin turbo, liquid cooled engine. It is a modern engine, much better power, similar consumption to something like the DA42 or 62. Yep. But then again, you've got 300 driving out the front instead of two 180s.
Yeah. And then what about slow flight characteristics? So how do you find it like in the circuit?
It's no different to flying a 40. They have an extremely good glide range on them, being originally Diamond produced gliders, a very high aspect wing. As you've noticed, it's not as nimble around the roll. There's a lot more mass out further.
Yeah.
So in rough air, it's actually a little bit more stable than some of your narrower aircraft.
Yeah.
I kept flying for a little bit longer because I also wanted to test how this aircraft performed in slightly steeper turns. And whilst the wider wings do mean that it actually rolls at a slower rate than some of the other aircraft I'm used to, once you get it into a turn, it does hold that turn very nicely. It's a very stable aircraft. And it's that stability I wanted to test to see how the aircraft actually stalls. So what happens when you point the nose up to the sky, reduce the power, slow the aircraft down, and exceed the critical angle of attack? How dramatic is the stall in this aircraft?
So we bring the aircraft back to idle. We get the gear warning, about 25%.
Yep.
Check gear. I'm just going to maintain 4,000 feet till we come into the stall.
Check gear.
There's our
Check
stall
gear.
warning. There's a little bit of buffet.
Check gear.
And we are in a fully developed stall, completely held.
Check gear.
Descending 700, 800 feet a minute. Steady 70 knots. Recover.
Check
Relax. Power on. Buffet's gone. Aircraft's accelerating. And we'll recover altitude.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That's very, very stable.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because you guys are in here listening to me. And were you saying 700 feet a minute was roughly
800 feet a minute, 70 knots, and I was just holding that full back stick.
We've been flying around for a while, but we hadn't actually discussed the engine itself in very much detail. Now, I think the benefits of Jet A1 versus avgas are pretty well known. It's more widely available, it's generally cheaper, but it's the liquid cooling component of this engine that actually makes it a quite versatile engine to operate. And that was something that Stuart wanted to demonstrate.
1, 2, 3 greens. We just bring the throttle back to flight idle and point the nose down.
And now you're almost just hanging it on the wheels then. It's like using the wheels as a bit of a speed brake.
Drag, yes.
Yep.
So we've got 3,000 feet a minute at the moment, and it's back at about 124 knots. You can point this down a little bit further. You don't slam the throttle up and down to change the speed too quickly, but coming from a cruise straight back to a flight idle is not going to create the shock cooling that you would have with an air-cooled engine.
Yeah.
Not so much because it's diesel, but just because it is liquid-cooled.
I spent the next 10 minutes of the flight basically just fanboying over the FADEC power lever.
Yeah, I am. I'm envious of FADEC. I won't lie to you. I am. I think having that from a workload benefit as a pilot,
it's less workload. You're not managing the engine management system. The computers are doing it, and it gives you more freedom to do other things and scan and.
Yeah.
But before long, it was time to make our way back to Moorabbin Airport.
All right, that's good for me.
You happy?
I'm happy. Yeah, very happy. Thank you.
And Stuart handed the aircraft back to me to let me do the landing.
We'll go right runway, so we'll do a right-hand downwind join for 17 right.
88 Romeo Moorabbin Tower, join downwind, runway 17 right.
Downwind 17 right, 88 Romeo, thank you. That's it, just keep the speed, a little more power. That's good. Okay, power can slowly start coming back. Keep coming, power smoothly coming to idle. All the way to idle, look to the end of the runway, hold me there. How smooth is that?
Landing back at Moorabbin, I could definitely feel the benefits of that trailing landing gear that helped soften even my landings. And after thanking the utility air team for the flight, I headed back to the hangar to reflect on the DA50 because there are some real positives with this aircraft. I love the engine. I love the FADEC controller. It was a lot of fun to fly.
But is it perfect? No. But then is any aircraft perfect?
Well, no, and it's like any technology. I always say this about aircraft and technology, it's the same. The next version that comes out of any new bit of tech is always going to be the best version. It all comes down to whether the current version ticks enough of the boxes that you want as a pilot to make it actually be not the perfect aircraft, but just the right aircraft for you. And if the Diamond DA50 does happen to be the right aircraft for you, then you can rest assured we'll be flying around in an aircraft that can do some pretty amazing things. Check out this next video right here. I think you'll really like this one. Thanks for watching.